Gettysburg, a crossroads of courage. The small town of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania became a crucible of American history in the summer of 1863. From July 1st to July 3rd, the fate of a nation hung in the balance. The Battle of Gettysburg, a ferocious clash of wills and weapons, would become a pivotal turning point in the American Civil War. More than 160,000 soldiers, clad in blue and gray, would fight and die on those hallowed grounds. The Confederate States of America, fighting for independence, met the Union Army, determined to preserve the Union and end slavery. The outcome of this epic battle would have profound implications for the future of the United States. The courage displayed at Gettysburg, on both sides of the conflict, was nothing short of extraordinary. Men fought with a ferocity rarely seen in warfare, driven by a deep sense of conviction and loyalty to their cause. As we delve into the details of this pivotal battle, we will explore the strategies employed, the sacrifices made, and the enduring legacy of Gettysburg. Setting the stage: a nation divided. The year 1863 dawned with the United States locked in a bitter civil war. The nation, once bound together by the ideals of liberty and unity, was now fractured along geographical and ideological lines. The Confederate States of America, having seceded from the Union, were determined to forge their own destiny, one where slavery remained deeply entrenched. The Union, led by President Abraham Lincoln, was equally resolute in its mission to preserve the Union and end the scourge of slavery. The first 2 years of the war had been a brutal and bloody affair, marked by a series of inconclusive battles that left both sides battered but unbroken. The Confederacy, led by General Robert E. Lee, had achieved a series of tactical victories on the battlefields of Virginia. However, the Union's vast industrial resources and manpower reserves gave them a distinct advantage in a protracted conflict. By the summer of 1863, the tide of war seemed to be turning in favor of the Union. It was against this backdrop of escalating tension and uncertainty that the Battle of Gettysburg unfolded. Lee's gamble. The Army of Northern Virginia advances. Confident in the prowess of his Army of Northern Virginia and seeking a decisive victory on Northern soil, General Robert E. Lee made a fateful decision in the late spring of 1863. He would launch a second invasion of the North, aiming to disrupt Union supply lines, demoralize the Northern populace, and perhaps even force a negotiated peace. Lee's army, hardened by years of campaigning and fiercely loyal to their commander, marched northward, their spirits high with hope and anticipation. The invasion, however, was not without its risks. Lee was venturing into unfamiliar territory, far from his supply lines and deep within the heart of a hostile populace. The Union Army of the Potomac, though having suffered setbacks under previous commanders, was a formidable force, bolstered by fresh recruits and eager to meet the Confederate challenge. At its helm was a new commander, General George Meade, a capable and determined officer thrust into command just days before the fateful encounter at Gettysburg. Lee's plan hinged on the element of surprise and the swiftness of his army's movements. However, fate, as it often does in war, had other plans. Meade's resolve. The Army of the Potomac stands firm. Newly appointed as commander of the Army of the Potomac, General George Meade faced an unenviable task. The fate of the Union rested on his shoulders as Lee's army marched unchecked through Pennsylvania. Meade, a meticulous planner and a cautious but determined leader, quickly grasped the gravity of the situation. He would meet Lee's aggression with unwavering resolve, rallying his army to defend the Union at all costs. Meade's army, though battered by previous engagements, was a formidable force. As reports of Confederate movements reached Meade's headquarters, he skillfully deployed his forces, maneuvering them to intercept Lee's advance. It was here, at this crossroads town, that Meade would make his stand, determined to halt Lee's invasion and turn the tide of the war. Section 5, Day 1, A Clash of Wills at Gettysburg. The morning of July 1, 1863, dawned hot and humid over Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Confederate troops, foraging for supplies, stumbled upon Union cavalry on the outskirts of town. What began as a skirmish quickly escalated into a full-blown engagement, as reinforcements poured in from both sides. the Confederates pushed the outnumbered Union forces back through the streets of Gettysburg, driving them south of town to a more defensible position on Cemetery Hill and Cemetery Ridge. As the sun set on that first bloody day, the stage was set for an even greater clash of arms. Section 6, Day 2, Little Round Top and Devil's Den. Day 2 of the Battle of Gettysburg, July 2, 1863, saw the fighting intensify as both armies sought to gain the upper hand. The Confederate forces under General Lee's orders launched a series of assaults against the Union lines south of Gettysburg. The focus of their attack was the Union left flank, anchored on two strategically important hills, Little Round Top and Devil's Den. The Union's 20th Maine Regiment, under the command of Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, found itself desperately outnumbered and nearly out of ammunition. With bayonets fixed, they charged down the slope in a desperate counterattack, driving back the Confederates and securing the Union's left flank. Despite repeated assaults, the Confederates were unable to dislodge the Union forces from their positions. Section 7, Day 3, Pickett's Charge and the High Tide of the Confederacy. The morning of July 3, 1863, dawned hot and hazy over the blood-soaked fields of Gettysburg. General Lee, determined to break the Union lines, devised a risky plan. He would commit his remaining reserves to a massive frontal assault against the center of the Union line, a decision that would have far-reaching consequences. Nearly 13,000 Confederate soldiers, led by Major General George Pickett, emerged from the tree line and advanced across nearly a mile of open ground towards the Union positions on Cemetery Ridge. They marched into a storm of Union artillery and rifle fire, their ranks torn apart by the unrelenting barrage. However, the Union defenses held firm and the Confederate assault was repulsed with heavy losses. Pickett's charge, the high water mark of the Confederacy, had failed. Section 8. The Aftermath. A nation mourns, a nation hopes. The sun set on July 3, 1863, marking the end of the Battle of Gettysburg. The once peaceful Pennsylvania countryside lay scarred and broken, littered with the bodies of the fallen. Over 51,000 soldiers lay dead, wounded, or missing, their sacrifices forever etched in the annals of American history. The aftermath of Gettysburg was a scene of unimaginable carnage and sorrow. The wounded, their cries echoing across the now silent battlefield, overwhelmed the makeshift hospitals. In the North, news of the Union victory was met with relief and jubilation, tempered by the staggering loss of life. The South, however, reeled from the news of Lee's defeat. Gettysburg, a crushing blow to Confederate hopes, marked a turning point in the war. Section 9, Gettysburg's Enduring Legacy, a turning point in American history. The Battle of Gettysburg, a pivotal event in the American Civil War, stands as a testament to the enduring human spirit and the high price of freedom. This three-day clash of arms had profound implications for the course of the war and the destiny of the United States. Gettysburg marked a turning point in the war, shifting the momentum decisively in favor of the Union. Lee's defeat shattered the myth of Confederate invincibility and extinguished any realistic hopes of Southern independence. The Union's victory at Gettysburg, coupled with Grant's capture of Vicksburg on the same day, marked the beginning of the end for the Confederacy. The battle galvanized Northern resolve, reaffirming the belief that the Union was worth fighting for. Section 10. A New Birth of Freedom, Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. On November 19, 1863, amidst the still healing wounds of war, President Abraham Lincoln traveled to Gettysburg to dedicate a national cemetery in honor of the fallen soldiers. His address, a mere 272 words, would become one of the most enduring and eloquent pronouncements on the meaning of liberty and the sacrifices made to preserve it. Lincoln's words transcended the immediate context of the war. He spoke of a nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. The Gettysburg Address redefined the meaning of the Civil War, transforming it into a fight to fulfill the promise of equality for all Americans. Lincoln's words continue to resonate with us today, reminding us of the fragility of freedom. Section 11. The Echoes of Gettysburg. Remembrance and Reconciliation. The Battle of Gettysburg, though fought over 150 years ago, continues to cast a long shadow over American history. The hallowed grounds of Gettysburg National Military Park stand as a solemn reminder of the sacrifices made to preserve the Union and the ideals upon which it was founded. Each year, millions of visitors from around the world make the pilgrimage to Gettysburg to walk in the footsteps of those who fought and died there. Gettysburg serves as a reminder that the divisions of the past, though painful and enduring, can be overcome. The echoes of Gettysburg remind us that the pursuit of a more perfect union is an ongoing journey, one that requires vigilance, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to the ideals of liberty and equality for all.